Any second now. Here we are. Good evening and welcome to the Car Sim and Race Driver Show. And today it's a very special day because we have our first ever female guest who's dared to come on the show. It is, of course, Theamusante. I hope I've pronounced that right. Good evening. How are you today?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
I'm good. Very well, thanks. Now, we're very excited to have you on the show because you're a star of the sim racing field out there on YouTube with many. In fact, I think it's well over 2,000 subscribers now. At last count, I think it was well over that, which is great. And of course, you're starring in the Sim Grid, the all-female championship. So there'll be lots of questions, lots of things to talk about. But my first question would be, how did it all begin?
So it started. I can hear my. It started about 6 months ago, I think, and it was really not expected. So I was watching the Bathurst 12 hours on YouTube, as you do now, watching the Sports 7 on YouTube. And I really enjoyed the racing. It was very close. Some of the cars were spinning out, and it was going on for so many hours. I thought, oh, I would really love to do this one day. And my fiance actually had just invested in a Placeit challenge and a G920 wheel and pedals. And he said to me, well, you've tried it a few times, but you didn't really try hard. But now that you're saying you're enjoying this race, do you want to actually try that track? So he made me go around a few tracks, and I absolutely loved it. I've also loved creating content since I was a teenager. I have a few videos that I've shared with my community of me singing on the internet. I wasn't too sure what to put, what type of content to create, and with my fiance we discussed that, and it just all came along. I decided to start streaming my journey because I thought that. In the world of sim racing, there wasn't any entry level stream. There was only the best of the best. So there's a lot of guys streaming, and they're all really good level, like Gamer Muscle, Super GT, Jardier. They're all incredibly fast, and so there was no entry level. So I wasn't sure if people would enjoy watching someone that's slow. And then I thought, oh, I might inspire people to start. So I started with this idea that I wanted to do my journey. That's what it came out.
You're being very modest when you say slow, because if anyone has seen these incredible rally videos, I strongly recommend watching your rally videos because you absolutely are on it 100%, hearing through the dirt tracks of all over the globe. And there's some great shots there of how you managed to take all the kind of pace notes and in your stride, you could say, and have no problem at all. And it's always fun. I always find when I do rally games, I end up in the trees. So it's quite a thing. But so we've got a number of viewers here, including, of course, your fiancé Jeff, making sure that everything is going well. But yes, and some people have even tried to speak French. So I do apologise for my French response. I did do my higher French, and I even spent 3 weeks in Gap. In the south for when I was 14, way back in 1989, doing a music course. Not that I can play the piano anymore these days, but yes, so I've had my experience of France. But it's a great niche that you've taken up there, and now obviously you're getting a good response and it's growing. What's been probably your most kind of your best moment as you've been doing your channel?
Oh, there's been plenty. I think I try to celebrate every little step that I take. So, for example, I've done a party stream with when I got over a K with my community. So that was a really great moment that I will remember. I had a stream for my birthday recently where everyone came on around and had fun. We had a Wreckfest party. It's been absolutely awesome. But I think the highlight so far, I've basically entered a rally championship, the FRDF Cup, which was a women rally championship with real woman rally driver, and that was about 3 months ago when the first championship happened, and that's why I bought the game in the first place. One of the reasons why, and I won it, and I was absolutely over the moon. That's what got me really into dirt rally. So that was one of the highlights. I actually got a T-shirt. I don't know if Jeff will be able to bring it around. That was made for me. That says in the back, "I'm a rally driver." So. Which was the prize I've received, and I wear it really proud in the street, even though I'm not a rally driver. I'm a sim racing rally driver. And then obviously last night was one of the highlights for me, because the amount of positivity I've received from the girls, and also from people watching, from the viewers, it was absolutely awesome. Everyone has been just positive, and I've really enjoyed the whole experience of the More Female Racers Championship.
Yeah, I mean, for people who were watching that last night, or if they may have missed it, you had a bit of an incident. You were kind of caught up in an accident at the start, that seems to be commonplace, because I remember watching Josh Martin doing the same track on ACC a few months ago, and everything was going so well. It was a wet race at the Nürburgring, and somebody had spun off, and they rejoined in a bit of a dodgy way, and he just got collected, and there was no way to avoid it, and that was it. And he had damage on his car, and that was basically much his race. He had to kind of start from the back, and he did come through quite a bit, but it's a tough, because the ACC is really tough, and if you get damage on your car, it makes it even harder. But you were flying through the field, because you went pretty much to the back of the field, and by the end you had got up to, I think it was about 6th place, when you do a driver changeover, wasn't it? Which was fantastic. So you had good pace for that there as well. But who would you say going forward in that championship looks to be the most competitive, or right up there? Do you think you've got a good chance to be up there too?
So because I'm you've got obviously 2 different stints. So the girls with the girls, and then the co-drivers, which are male and female, driving together. So I'm not really looking at the team. I'm just looking at the girls, which are around my pace. So there's a girl called Lauren she started 3 weeks ago, and she's pretty much at my pace already. So I have to watch out for her, because I know she might be catching me from the side. There's Carrie Mitchell, which is from the USA. So she's actually trying to be a real life racer. She's done quite a few championship on iRacing before, so I know she's got the skills. And then there's real life racers and rallycross racers, stunt rally racer. So Verena May, she's a stunt rally driver from Fast and Furious, and then Christine Saute, she's a rallycross driver. So all these girls I have to watch out for, because that was their first time. I know how anxious I was when I started. The fear take over your body, your muscle memories, just going all over the place. It takes you a few laps to just get back into the mood, and knowing, okay, this is my braking marker. I haven't missed my. I know which gear I'm on. But at first, you're overwhelmed with all the emotion, and everything's new, and you're worried about driver swaps. So yeah, I think I need to be worried about most girls, if I'm honest, because I think also depending on the track, you see some people's strength. Nürburgring, I've actually worked really hard, because I'm not a big fan of that track. The next one is Hungaroring, and I have no affinity with that track. So I think quite a lot of girls might overtake me. I'm just really slow there. So I think I need to be careful with all the girls. They're all going to be watching out for me.
Yeah. I think, that was one of the few tracks I've played on ACC, and I was driving a Bentley in that, and the GT3 car. And I have to say, I took to that one relatively well, I think, because it's quite short. So you might well find that once you've given it a few laps, you'll get into it quite quickly, because it's one of those rhythm tracks, isn't it? There's not a lot of overtaking opportunities, but maybe the start-finish straight turn one. But it's quite good when you get into it and see how you get on. But you've got a phenomenal lineup there for the female championship. In fact, one of the races in the series that we covered quite a bit last year was the Formula W series, and that was great. Seeing people like Jamie Chadwick and others, race out there, and they did a really good job. And it's been so unfortunate this year that the COVID has put an end to all of that, because they were going to be racing alongside the Formula One calendar. I think in America and Mexico, that was the plan, but hopefully next year they can bring it back and see them do well, because it's great to see females getting into the sport. Now we just live about a half a mile from Louise Aitken Walker. And she was the women's world rally champion twice, way back in the 80s and early 90s. And my only claim to fame, you could say, in rallying was that when I was about 15 years old, they had a banger day. And I'd been pestering my father, who was a doctor, and he knew Louise. And Louise had said to him, "Oh, you need to bring Hugh along and we'll get him out in a banger." So eventually it happened. And I was so excited, when you're a teenager, to get a chance to drive, even though it was an Austin Marina of all those kind of horrendous cars. That's what it was, in a field, a stubble field. But who comes into my car but Louise Aiken Walker? And she says, "Right, Hugh, I'm going to teach you how to drive." So there it was, and I was kind of push pull kind of as we do in Britain, kind of the most crazy ways of driving. And said, "Forget all of that." Says, "When you go into a skid, just move, cross your hands and catch the skids and get on with it." So for about half an hour, I had Louise Aiken Walker as my teacher. Not that that's helped me in any way at all. I'm not a rally driver or racing driver, but it was a great experience. And of course, she's got this huge history just down the road. So perhaps when the Jim Clark Rally is back on, hopefully next year, they normally do it at the end of May, they actually close the roads in Duns, in the borders, and all around the kind of area of Duns. And it's a fantastic rally. So if you're up for coming up with your fiancée, that would be a fantastic thing, because I'm sure we can maybe do a sim race at the same time, because there's lots of people come into Duns, and I'm sure we could get you up, and it'd be people would be really pleased to see how you would get on with something like that. How do you find watching between sim racing and then real rallying and real racing? Do you have any particular likes of for motorsport? Any favorites?
So I really enjoy watching GT3 and racing, because that's what got me into racing. And so I pretty much watch mostly sim racing rather than, well, actually, no, I've been watching quite a few GT3 races this year, but I know quite a few people from my community are fond of rallying, so we get quite a few videos sent over on the community that that they share between each other. But I'm also following some of the girls so that I've met through the FRDF championship. And so we've got Nabila Teshpa. She's a rally driver, so she's in R5. She was just moving in R5 this year, and so she's going to be starting a few events. So I'm trying to follow what she does, for example, see if I can ever go to one of the rallies she does. I've been speaking to quite a few of the girls, so I'm keen to follow that, because I've never been to an actual motorsport event, and I'm actually going to my first on Sunday for my fiance's birthday. We're going to Brands Hatch, seeing the F1 historic racing. And my favorite, there's the original mini racing. So
fantastic! Yeah, they'll have a great day.
Yeah, so yeah. I enjoy all type of racing, but I'd say, to answer your question, it's the GT3 racing that I enjoy the most watching.
Yeah. I think the sound of it, it's like when I saw the Blancpain title last year at Silverstone, it was phenomenal. I mean, the noise from those Audis and Lamborghinis as they race past you are just incredible. It's a brilliant experience. And of course, going to Brands Hatch is a classic track. So that'll be great.
My fiance is screaming in the background, and I completely forgot. Yes, I love to watch Formula One as well. I'm a big Renault fan. I've got 2 different Renault cap. I've got a Renault T-shirt. I'm a big supporter of Renault.
No, it's great. Well, I was a big supporter of Renault as well when it was when it was the Williams Renault, when it was Mansell and Prost way back in the early 90s. Because one of the few Grand Prix I've ever been to was at Donington Park in 1993 to watch the European Grand Prix. I was 18, my 18th birthday, and it was Ayrton Senna, of course, won at Donington Park. And it was the most incredible atmosphere, the rain and then the dry and the rain again. They ran out of tires. They came into the pits and they had to put an old set of tires on because they'd run out. And he still pretty much lapped everybody, I think, except Hill on that day. But an incredible experience. So I'm sure as you go to your first event at Brands Hatch, it will be, I'm sure, a great occasion. And it's great. I take it. So now the crowds are allowed to go there, because that must be one of the first events that you can get into.
I think it's a reduced capacity, and they have different precaution measures that you have to follow. But yeah, they are receiving
the 6-wheel Tyrrell is racing.
Oh, fantastic!
Yeah,
the 6-wheel Tyrrell, that's quite a machine. That and I suppose you'd be maybe big fans of Goodwood as well, like the Festival of Speed.
Oh, I love that. That's something I love watching on YouTube. Oh my God, yes, I could watch that for hours.
It's car heaven. It's
Yeah,
motorsport heaven, really, isn't it?
and it's never because obviously I don't know. So I started 6 months ago. I don't know much about cars, and I've been learning while I've been learning with Assetto Corsa because you've got all the different mods that you can download. So I've been learning about
Yeah.
cars, and I've been driving them, and then I watched them going through Goodwill, and I was like, oh my god, the one you expect to go fast are the slow one. It's just a funny, really funny thing.
Well, they're doing a big event, of course, like around about the 15th of October at Goodwood. So there's going to be lots of racing. I think it's a closed day, so unfortunately spectators aren't allowed in. But everything's going to be put out live on YouTube, I think. So that will be definitely worth watching. And I just want to give a quick shout out to all our viewers as they're watching. We're getting a fantastic audience here. Now, if you've got questions for Theamusante, if that's hopefully pronounced all right, hopefully by the end of it, please get them in the comments here, and we'll ask Theo straight away as to what your questions are. Now, here's one of the things. You've had always some very good experiences in gaming, but like all of us, there's those horrendous penalties on GT Sport and things like that. What has been your worst gaming experience?
So I'd say I said that I won the first FRDF championship, which was the rally championship. The second one I had started on the first event, the first stage. I went into the stage very comfortable. I had practiced a lot, and I had terminal damage. Now, it was a team event as well. So I was really afraid to tell my teammate, well, she picked me because I won the first championship, and now I'm teaming up with her and I've crashed terminal damage. So I cried the whole afternoon. I didn't realize how much it meant to me until it happened. But as soon as I saw the terminal damage, for the next 2 hours, I was crying. I just couldn't handle it. And it was real emotion. I just couldn't. I told my viewer on the evening, they could see on my face. It took me days to get over that. So that was definitely the most disappointing. Now, I've got plenty of occasions where I'm ashamed to be on camera because I forgot to add my fuel. Add enough fuel. I panic when I'm going into the pit lane, so I didn't pick the right driver, so I have to do an extra lap. So I forgot to start my engine when I start a race at iRacing. So there's plenty of stories that I could tell you where I'm really ashamed of that.
They all sound like things that can, I suppose, it can easily happen, to be fair. I mean, that's one of the questions I've got, to be fair. Doing a driver change in an esport, how on earth does that happen? Because I suppose you have to come into the pits and it gives you an option to choose a driver who's waiting as your partner, I take it, to kind of swap with. Is that kind of how it works on the menu, or is it more complicated than that?
Yeah. So I'm actually going to do probably a little guide for that, because I know it's not something that's easy, straightforward. Not everyone knows how to do it. I've learned it because I did a 12-hour endurance race with my fiancé and our server god. So he's basically holding all our community races, and my friend Daniel Emma. And we had to driver swap throughout the whole session. So that's how I learned about driver swap. But thankfully, we have a server god who's also able to create this server where we can swap. So I had plenty of opportunity to swap. And I've also tried to give this opportunity to my community, because I think unless you're participating into a endurance race, you're not getting that opportunity to try. So they've also done it in a few of our races. Now, how it works, it's easy if you start the race and only have to do it once, because you can pick it from the start, whichever driver you want to swap. You are associated to it, the server, you're associated on the server with that person. And then you select whether you want to do body work, change tires, this type of thing. So it will vary the length you spend in the pit lane. Now, if you're the second driver to swap with someone else after that, you have to do it while driving. It's a little bit more of a pain to circle through your HUDs on screen. And it's a bit of a panic for me when I have to do it and I'm driving on the straight line.
Yeah. No, you do a very good job of that, because, I mean, I think anyone who is driving and then streaming at the same time and also looking at comments, it seems insane. You're trying to do the whole thing and then you've got to make a driver change. that is even harder. So no, I think you've done a very good job, and it's understandable sometimes when you might accidentally choose the wrong option by accident when that happens. But I think that's part of the emotion, because the community is behind you, and they probably share a bit of that pain as well if it does go wrong. And they're all, they've got lots of good vibes for you to hope for the best when you do a race. Now we've got our first question for you. Would you ever take part in an amateur rally stage if given the opportunity?
Yeah, so yes, I'd say yes. I think through the FRDF, I've met a few girls, and one of them has told me that she would make me try to drive her car. So
Wow.
if I do get the occasion to drive it, I won't say no. No, I will definitely try. I have a new motto, which is I should say yes to everything. So I'm trying to follow my motto.
Yeah, no, that sounds pretty good, especially in the motorsport circles. I'm sure that would be the way to go. Have you ever thought about doing a kind of motorsport day? Because you can do these kind of arrive and drive, or more particular kind of kind of race driver type days at different tracks around the country. Is that something you'd be quite interested in?
So no, I mean, yeah, I would be interested. I think I would like eventually, when I have enough money to buy a new car, to take my little Ford Fiesta around the Nordschleife and just throw it around like there will be no tomorrow. But I'm okay at go-karting. I when I go with my fiance and his friends, I managed to overtake a few of his friends, so that just maybe a few go-karting events.
Yeah, that must make them feel really bad. But I mean, that's a good thing when you can beat them all, and then they'll they'll probably try and put diesel in your go-kart, but to try and slow you down. But no, that's the thing. But keep your questions coming in to all our viewers as well. So what would be your kind of future plans and hopes as you kind of grow your channel and things? And obviously you're in this championship at the moment. Would there be an ideal championship you would like to get into?
So eventually I would like to be myself participating into higher level championship. But for now, I'm just focusing on the more female races, and I'd like to move the more female races to having a second and third and fourth events where there would be more and more women involved, because I've really, really enjoyed doing that and bringing more women in the world of sim racing. So I want to make sure that that's one of the thing I do now. I was actually talking about something that's close to my heart yesterday with my fiancé when we were in the shower, and it was my grandma has Alzheimer's, so I would like to organize myself an endurance race with my community, and it would be open to anyone to raise money for Alzheimer's. So that's one of the plans. But apart from that, obviously my channel is mainly focused on my journey. So I have just started, for example, a stream on Rallycross. So there's going to be plenty of Rallycross streams coming where I'm going to be crashing around and learning about Rallycross. I've had my first stream last week, and I had no clue what was going on. So it was great. I really enjoyed it. And obviously continuing to learn F1 2020. I want to explore as many sims as possible to know which one I want to specialize in eventually, and then be in a championship at a higher level.
Yeah, that sounds fantastic. Now, I've got another motorsport question for you from Joshua Bucard. A question for Thea. Does she prefer dirt or asphalt?
I'd say dirt.
So the rallying, and yeah, a good answer for there.
Yeah.
And who is your favorite GT3 driver? It's a question by GT Plus Racing.
So basically I've always been following David, and I really love David Perel. I think he's really aggressive on track. I love his way of driving. I love his way of seeing things as well. So he's definitely my favorite in terms of actual real life racer.
Yeah. So going on to F1 2020, I mean, that's quite a different sim compared to like ACC and Gran Turismo and things like that. How do you find that game? Are you a bit of a fan? I mean, obviously you play it quite a bit. Do you think it's quite good, or do you think it's kind of hum and haw? Is it a good F1 representation, do you think?
So I've tried I've tried the previous version and I hated it. Well, I mean, it didn't feel like a sim. This one is definitely a lot better, and I've been really enjoying it. Now I'm really rubbish at it, so I need to progress, and I think I will be able to enjoy it more once I know exactly what I'm doing. I think the hardest part for me is I'm actually playing the game mode, the game mode that's called My Team, and you have to manage your tires, your fuel, and I'm not understanding all that just yet. I love to race the car, that's for sure. But then my engine blew. I had so many problems. I'm the last one understanding. My team is at the very bottom, so I'm enjoying it. But I would be enjoying it more if I was in fifth or fourth position.
Yeah, I think that's the thing, because the setups are so difficult and you really have to know your stuff. When I was talking to Josh Martin a few weeks back, he was saying that he thought when you do these kind of F1 style races, you really have to have the setup properly done. I suppose similar in a way to ACC, because if your setup's not right, you're going to be nowhere near for getting a pole position lap or being up there at the top, because your car simply won't handle and it won't brake and it won't do all the things that you need it to do to give you the kind of grip that you need and the confidence. Well, it's the same with F1. I quite enjoy doing the time trial. Is that something that you've done as well to get a bit of practice? Do you sometimes do the time trial on F1?
Definitely. I'm really good at time trial because you haven't got all these other things that you have to think about. But then as soon as you involve the fuel and the engine and the DRS and all that, oh my God, that's it. That's when it all goes over the window, really. So, yeah.
Yeah. And how do you find the current cars with their kind of V6 hybrid? Because it's quite a different engine noise compared to the likes of the V8s that were, going about up until the end of 2013. Because even in the game, you can play on the old style, the historic cars, or some that's 5-10 years old. Do you find that you quite like driving the old cars, or are you just really concentrating on the current cars?
So I've driven a few of the old cars on Assetto Corsa, and I found them really hard to drive. I know my fiancé enjoy it a lot more than I. I prefer the recent one. And in terms of noise, I mean, because I've only recently been into F1, I'm not that familiar with the old noise. Now I know my fiancé was missing it. He said now it's a little bit less interesting. It's less of a row, but I enjoy it. I think it'll still be breathtaking when I'm going to my first F1 show, and they'll be passing by. I think my heart will be vibrating. So definitely, I enjoy it.
I think that, to be fair, the new cars have gotten a bit louder in recent years. They are a bit more kind of revvy, because the old V8s, they were incredible. In fact, the one thing I would recommend you do when you get a chance to go to Goodwood, to the Festival of Speed, make sure you get to the F1 garage and the tents, because they bring out the cars and they do normally a couple of runs up the hill every day. And what you want to do is they kind of park in a kind of park fermé and get behind the hedge where they are. And then one by one, they'll all start up. And it's the old, like the Red Bulls, and then the Ferraris, and then the Renaults, and the whole lot. And honestly, you'll need earplugs, but it's music to your ears. If you're a racing fan, it's something you have to kind of behold to experience what F1 is like. And so what would be your ideal Formula One race to go to?
Oh, so I had saved to go to Silverstone this year, but with the whole COVID-19 situation, we did not. It was the week I was going to book my tickets that they announced the lockdown. So that was the one that we wanted to go, just because it's I've got a car, so we can drive there. Now, if I had to pick one, it would and so actually I've got a necklace here. I don't know if you can see it. It's it's the Silverstone layout.
Oh, fantastic!
It's a pretty special place to me. I had my first endurance race there. So I had that. My fiancé offered me that for my birthday just last week. So Silverstone would be a special place, but I think Barcelona would be also a great place, because my family is not far from there. And also I'm pretty sure it would be hot if you go there. Yeah. It's nice to go in.
Yeah, the British Grand Prix can be hit or miss, certainly, in terms of weather. But yeah, when we went to Donington all those years ago, it was pretty cold, and everyone was wearing their duffel coats and all their stuff, their kind of winter gear, because it was at Easter, which is way too early to host a Formula One Grand Prix in Britain. Never a good idea to have it at Easter, and there were floods everywhere, and people were struggling to try and get out after it. But it was great fun. Do you ever kind of remember things like the French drivers? The F1 drivers like Prost and Alesi, did you ever watch any of that, or was that a little bit before your time?
No, so yeah, I did. I know about the old driver because my fiance has always been into Formula One, so he's always trying and bring me into it. It's only recently I've discovered that I really liked it, and obviously there's a lot of French drivers this year,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
so that's well, yeah. They're not all French actually. They might be Belgian, but um, yeah, I did follow Alain Prost. I would have wished actually that I was into F1 at the time, so I could follow and be proud of being French and supporting him.
Yeah.
But he's really done a great job. I think he did Le Mans as well, hasn't he? I mean, I'm not 100% sure that.
He could well have done. I'm not so sure about something for Prost, but I know some of the other French drivers have done that. I was a big Jean Alesi fan because he drove for Ferrari in the early years from 1990, and he challenged Senna on one of his first races in Detroit in the Tyrrell. So if ever you get a chance to see that on YouTube, look at Detroit and Alesi, and you'll see a fantastic battle of the two of them. But and many years ago, this is what the late 90s, I thought Jean Alesi had a website, and I thought, well, I was a big fan. I'll just send him an email and see if he replies. And sure enough, he did. But it was all in French. So I had to get a good friend to translate it for me so I could work out what he was saying. But he was so open to fans kind of contacting him. And I loved, I mean, I think to drive for Ferrari must be the most incredible experience in F1. And there he was giving his life story of that was his favourite team to drive for, and he would still drive for them to this very day, pretty much, if he had been given the chance. If there was a car that you could drive, whether it be a racing car or a rally car, what would be your ideal car that you could have a shot in?
So I've really enjoyed driving the Ford Mustang. I think it was the, oh my god, 302R. It's a Ford Mustang from the 1970s, and I raced it in AC Assetto Corsa, and it was around Lime Rock. It was absolutely amazing. I just really enjoyed how it was bouncing around, and I didn't imagine I would actually enjoy driving a big muscly car. So that would be that, and then the other one is I just dream about having the original Mini. I would love to. I know you can pretty much race that car on every track. I've seen it around a few tracks around the UK. So I've watched a few races on YouTube. I think it was Donington actually. And I've seen it in rallycross as well. So I love to drive the little Mini in dirt rally, for example.
Yeah, I mean, that sounds like a great game, actually, because obviously there's a lot of sim drivers watching tonight. Some will be done it for a long time. Others will be just starting out. Would there be a particular, say, 2 or 3 games you would recommend for people either just getting started in sim racing as maybe your favourites or a good one to get started with?
Yeah, so I would say definitely my ultimate favorite is Assetto Corsa Competizione. However, it's only GT4 and GT3. So if you're looking for more diversity, Assetto Corsa is great because it teaches you about any type of car, front wheel drive, rear wheel drive, all type of engine, it's absolutely great to teach you about that. And dirt rally. That would be my 3 main.
Yeah, it's a dirt rally. So have you ever really played Gran Turismo then? Is that one that you've kind of, or you're not really tried that? I know I've been seeing your streams and you've mainly done dirt rally and ACC and things like that in Formula One. Is that a game that at all attracts you to it, or is it just not your cup of tea?
So I haven't got a PlayStation, and I'm pretty sure it's only on PlayStation.
Yes, that is true. Yeah. So that answers that question.
I'm an Xbox girl, so I've got Assetto Corsa Competizione on Xbox, but I haven't got Gran Turismo. No, I would need to purchase a PS4 to be able to play it.
Yeah. Oh, that's the thing. I mean, I have to say, I love when I started playing Assetto Corsa. I got that a couple of years ago, and it's a great range of cars, as you say, in it. And it starts you off right at the very beginning, isn't it? With a Fiat, it's an Abarth 500 or 695, I think, isn't it? And you race in that, and it's quite tricky to get that right on these little circuits that they go. And then, of course, you get into an Alfa Romeo Giulietta, a step up. And then, of course, they've got the Alfa Romeo 155 touring car, which is also in some of the earlier races, which is I was a big fan of. I used to watch it in touring cars and the British touring car series, and also when Tarquini drove it in Italy as well, I think, for the World Touring Cars Championship. But do you have a favourite racing car out of Assetto Corsa that you quite like? Is it all mainly kind of touring cars or GT3s or any single-seaters at all?
Oh, there's so many I like. on Assetto Corsa. That's I mean, in ACC it would be the Aston Martin. I have no doubt. I know this is the best. It's just suiting totally to my driving style. It's not spin. It drifts around the corners. I just love the way it handles. Now in Assetto Corsa, it's a very difficult question because there's so many cars. I know the one I don't like. So there's pretty much anything that has a turbo. I'm not really sure how to handle it. As soon as you push the pedal, the car is just flying off, and I can't control that. And more recently, I think I've tried a Ferrari mode. So I can't remember which year it was, but it was a Formula One. And I wasn't the only one to not like it. Everyone that was in the race disliked it because everyone just kept spinning around.
Ferrari 643, that was.
It was a Ferrari 643.
643.
Right.
Love them.
You would probably like it, but I...
Yeah, there were some. Was that not the one from the mid-90s, I think, or early 90s?
Yes.
I think, yeah.
And I'm not a Ferrari fan either, so I didn't enjoy the experience at all.
Yeah. Oh dear. The only one who doesn't like a Ferrari V12. My goodness. You heard it first here on the Car Sim and Race Driver show. But no, it's good. It's good to know because everyone likes their particular cars and what they like to kind of race with. And now, obviously, you do say mainly PC and Xbox. How do you find that the PC? You know, is it quite for a lot of people just starting in sim racing? We tend to use PlayStation. You know, it's an easy one to go for, and you can just set it up, plug in and play, and either go on things like Gran Turismo and things like that. How have you found building a sim rig and using a PC? Is it something that you found a bit of a challenge, or did you have a good idea of what you wanted?
So you mean building the rig? As in building the rig was quite the easy part, to be honest. It's really enjoyable. I love doing Legos, so that's definitely something that you will enjoy if you love building things. It didn't take us too much time either, so I love that. In terms of PC, so I'm not going to take any credit for that. My fiancé did all of that. He actually bought all the parts, and I overseen the whole putting together. I've actually got some pictures somewhere of him putting it together because he was telling me it's very complicated. If you don't put it in the right place, it might not work. And even if you put it in the right place, it might not work. So when we turned it on and everything worked, we were just so amazed we made it. Now, we bought the computer to play a lot of different games. I used to play The Sims, for example, which nothing related to a simulator. It's obviously a management game. And Civilization, things like that. So we built the computer to play this type of games. And then we got into sim racing and streaming, and the computer is just not happy. So we need a new computer. That's definitely challenging. I think definitely go for the best spec. Look into this if you're going to sim race. So if you're going to stream, because that's especially Assetto Corsa competition, it requires quite a lot of your capacity. So my computer has had overheating issues in the past and things like that. But we kind of know how to. Well, actually, the community has been very helpful because we've got a few IT. We'll call them IT supports, but they normally tell us what to check and what to change. And they've been absolutely amazing. They've helped us with all the problem we had. So fingers crossed, we haven't got any at the moment. But yeah, really enjoyed the building, and PC is complicated.
Yeah, it does sound like it's quite a big thing to do. But there you have it for all our viewers who are watching now and who watch the stream for Theamusante. Make sure that you bring in those super chats so that they can get themselves an upgraded PC. That would be a great thing for you, so you can get a supercomputer and that'll sit there. And that thing is that these computers nowadays, they produce so much heat. And you've got to have about 8 fans. I know when Super GT was doing a video earlier on and tweets about how he was building his latest PC. I think something like 8 fans, I think he had to put into it. Something quite incredible. If he's watching just now, I'm sure you can put us right. Now, I've got another question here from a chap called Keith Will Onyu. I know him well, actually. I know him well. I'm about to start on iRacing. Any suggestions?
Ooh, just get for the rookie class. Once you out of the rookie class, it's a totally different experience. And that's a very good question. I think do a lot of time trials because the races you will see in some of the classes are a catastrophe, and maybe stick to one of the type of racing you like, because there's you can start in all different type of racing. There's road and dirt, I think, a mix, and then there's also oval. Oval is quite great fun, but in rookie class it's a little bit of crashes. I used to have a compilation of people crashing around me in the rookie class. So yeah, just come out of rookie class as soon as possible, and yeah, that's my advice.
So lots of practice on there, because it's an MX5, I think, isn't it? The first one that you do on iRacing. Is that the first race or the first series that you get into on iRacing?
I can't actually remember. I think it was the Mazda.
Yeah, the Mazda MX5. Yeah. Now that's the thing. Well, Keith is saying thank you. You'll take that on board, and now he was going to do lots of practice on time trial. And that's the thing. Well, we've got lots of viewers watching tonight, just now, so thank you very much. It's fantastic to have you all watching. We've even got Rory Alexander. We've got who else have we got? We've had Super GT. We've got, of course, Jeff, who's making sure everything is working and running perfectly. We've got Zaza Racing and many, many more. So keep your comments coming in and your questions for Theamusante, because we're getting some great sim racing advice here, and things like that. Now, I suppose the thing would be, how do you find your kind of racing attitude? Because sometimes some people are quite argy-bargy, and you have to, they'll come and hit you and they'll swipe you. They don't seem to be very aware. How do you find dealing with that in a race situation? Does it make you angry, or how do you deal with that?
So I've obviously come a long way since I started. At first, I was very much letting people pass me by, and I was very distracted as well. I don't know if you do a lot of online racing yourself, but people flashing you is mentally disturbing for me. So a few people in my community, for example, they know, and that's something I've only just now managed to overcome. If someone is flashing me, I'm not gonna let him go. It can flash me. It doesn't mean he's faster than me, unless I can see he's faster than me. So it's definitely hard. And that was one of the things I was worried about as well, is because I wear my heart on my sleeve. Sometimes when something happened, I just get really angry. But then within a few laps, you realize, and obviously I realized that I shouldn't have gotten angry. I don't like to call people name. I'm really not. I don't really promote that. I think everyone is entitled to make mistakes. So that person that actually got into you could actually have had something. Maybe their cat could have jumped on them while they are playing. It could be a ton of different reasons. So I'm trying to think about all these outside reasons that could have made that situation happen, and I try not to get too angry about it. I did get a bit angry last night, for example, when my crash happened, because I got punted and I was very angry. But then relooking at it, I was also in the wrong, and then it took me a few laps to just come back to my yes, I'm gonna go and fight it. So it's definitely a challenge, and I think it comes with experience. There's still lots I have to learn. I am not the best at defending. There's plenty of time, for example, in iRacing, because you've got the iRating, and every time you have a collision, you come out of the track. It's your iRating go down. So I'm really, really worried when I race in iRacing, because I'm thinking, oh my God, I have to be careful. My safety rating, my iRating, everything is gonna go down. So yeah, it's a balance and a learning curve.
Yeah, now that's really good. Now we've got a funny question for you here from Chili Dog. Chili Dog asks, I would like to start streaming on YouTube. Do I need a Jeff?
He doesn't want to do that. He doesn't. He can have my Jeff if he wants. Chili Dog is our server god I was mentioning earlier. So he's basically the mastermind behind all the community races we have. So we have weekly, or on Sunday as well, we have Assetto Corsa races. Pretty much every Sunday, not this Sunday, but he's the mastermind behind the server. So it doesn't want to start streaming, I know that for sure.
Now we've also got a question from Short Master. It says, what track is your biggest nightmare track to race on? So the one you least look forward to.
Oh, well, it used to be Bathurst, because I felt really claustrophobic going throughout the walls at GT3 speed. It was very challenging, but I've gotten over it. So I'd say Hungaroring, unfortunately. I don't know why. I just can't like that track.
Yeah, that's quite. I was watching your single seater race you were doing a couple of days ago at Bathurst, and I thought you did incredibly well actually, because it's a really challenging circuit from going up the hill, that kind of dodgy, is it maybe turn 3 as you come, you're on the long straight, and then you come into that bend, and you were hugging those curbs really well, and you took great momentum up into the hills. And then when you come over and you come down, that section as you come down the hill is lethal. But you had a really good rhythm getting through there, and you're able to accelerate out and get a very good time. And that's a challenge. How do you find? Do you try and find a rhythm every time you get to a circuit to try and get the best out of it?
So I there's a few ways to cheat and to learn how to go faster, quicker is the lap guide. So what I've done is I've watched a lot of lap guides. Some of them, they don't tell you the secret of the track. So I've got a friend, for example, who took me around Bathurst. She's an alien, Vicky Thompson. She raced in a lot of sim grid races. She pretty much win all of them as well.
Wow.
And she's taken me around the track. She came on board with me and she said, no, you're doing this wrong. You're doing that wrong. And then she said, I'm going to help you. Come on board of my car. And then she took me around the track, and I could see the input difference she was putting with the throttle, where she was slowing down. And then she told me, there is a bump here. You can't go there because you're actually going to lose a lot of your grip. So you have to go back as soon as you can on the right-hand side of the track. And that's before you go downhill. You have to go as much as possible. And I didn't know that. So I've been taking that turn wrong so many times. So when she showed me that, I managed to go a lot faster in the downhill part, and I really enjoyed it.
That's really good, isn't it? Because that's the thing; it can make all the difference. Just that wonderful bit to be able to know one's adjustment of your line, as you say, to avoid a bump, and then it gets you competitive on that track. And of course, I think you finished second in that race a few nights ago at Bathurst, which is brilliant. So yeah, no, I mean, you're giving everybody a good run for their money, which is great, which is really, really good. But no, that's quite the thing. Now here we go. I'm looking at Joshua Boucard has said, could you speak about Wreckfest? What is your main goal for this game?
I can't play this game. Every time I play this game with the community, everyone is you basically, have you played Wreckfest, Hugh?
I've never played it. I would like to play it though. It looks hilarious. It does look lots of fun.
So the aim is pretty much to crash into each other and try and damage each other, but also arrive first in the race that you're racing. And unfortunately, I can't either arrive first because the car you have to drive in this game are big, old, muscly cars with either no power or just sliding around. And everyone likes to crash into me. So I just can't do both at all. And most of the time when I've been playing that game, I also had a few drinks because that was my birthday stream, and so my first 1K subscriber on YouTube, we celebrated on stream, and that's what we played. So yeah, no, I don't really have a goal in this game because I'm just frustrated.
I'm sure if you've driven around the Champs-Elysees, that would probably give you all the help and experience you need to be able to play Wreckfest. And I've heard it's so dangerous around there, is it? I think certainly nobody's insured when you go around the Champs-Elysees because there's so many accidents. They don't even try and figure out who's responsible. So so you're uninsured as you drive around the Champs-Elysees, and pretty much the same as when you drive in Wreckfest, really, isn't it? I've seen some of the videos of people playing it, and it does look a lot of fun, as you say, with these old American muscle cars heading around the place and seeing and having a great time, causing as much damage as they can. But yeah, no, that's the thing. Are there any other games that you kind of think are just hilarious to play, that are just good fun that you could play all day?
Related to sim racing, I don't know. I'm a bit of a gamer, to be honest. So I've played a lot of things in the past. I play PUBG online with my fiancé and his mates. I was actually okay at shooting. I recently found Fall Guys, and a lot of people are playing it on YouTube. It's obsessive because I can't go through a level. So I try again and again and again, and finally I go for a level, but then you're not getting through the second. So it's a really obsessive game. I'm going to try the Flight Simulator. I'm going to try that because obviously I've seen so many video clips of that, and it looks absolutely amazing. I want to fly to my hometown in France. I want to go and visit where I was born. All these things I want to do. So my dad is a pilot as well. So I want to make my dad proud.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm sure if you get a license for that game and do your best on that, it'll be something. I used to love playing Grand Theft Auto because there you could just nick off with a plane and head off all around, whether it be Vice City or all these different places in the different games. I thoroughly look forward to the next one coming, partly because they're great fun, and you can drive all these cars and race off into the hills and all sorts of stuff. So it's good to see that you like all sorts of other games there too. Before we finish off, you're sitting on a track racer sim rig. Now it looks an amazing machine. What would be your kind of guidance for kind of sim rig and track racer? What would be your experience of that?
So it really depends on your budget, but definitely if you have the budget to buy a track racer, I would really advise you to do so, because that was my first upgrade, going from a Placeit challenge with just the simple Placeit challenge, and it was 2 arms mounted on the wall as well for the screens. So it was really, really simple. It was the most basic. It actually worked for me. It was very comfortable. But this is the next level. I felt like everything was becoming very serious. I really love the look of it as well. Everything is super stable. So now I've got my my button box mounted. I wish I could show you. My camera is kind of in the corner. Let me see if I can just zoom out so I can show you a bit more.
Oh, yeah. It's quite wide, isn't it? It's quite a wide seat. I remember saying that on the internet. It's a decent size.
Yes.
So it gives you a bit of space, which
So
is quite good.
I would strongly advise you to get a pillow for your back, because your back will hurt, because especially for women, I've got a curved back. So this helps me not have my back hurt. My fiancé has a pillow that's a lot bigger. So that's for his back. Since I've changed everything today, I've got a pillow under my bum as well, so I can be slightly higher. There's a few things like that you can do, but it's absolutely amazing. I've got an arm for my button box. I've got a plate here for my my handbrake and my sequential shifter, and I still need to mount on the other side. I haven't mounted it yet. I've dismounted it a few days ago.
All right.
That's for the H pattern. So the H
fantastic.
is yet to come back, but it's in a cupboard so far.
Yeah, no, that's really good. And I think with that seat as well, it's got a handle to move it back and forward, isn't it? So once you've built it, it has a bit of adjustment.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's really good, isn't it? Because that makes it all the difference, so other people can use it and see how it all works. Now that's brilliant, and I've seen the track racer from round about £639, which is actually not bad for, I think, a similar setup, certainly from the seat point of view, when I went onto their website. So for all you sim racers out there who are looking to upgrade, track racer would definitely be one to take serious consideration and look, because it seems to be a really, really good outfit. Is there any other equipment you would recommend?
So I found my button box really, really useful, because there's a lot of different navigation you do in games. So for example, American Truck Simulator, you've got so many different buttons. I don't know if you into driving.
I've heard of it, but I've never played that one, to be fair.
It's a very relaxed game. So if you like to go on a trip for 20 minutes and just take your time and chat with your friends, that's for you. There's a lot of different buttons where you have to navigate, navigation, job, and then you've got all the different gears, because a lorry has up to, I think it's 16. I'm going to say something stupid. It has so many gears. You have to go up the gears. You have to have extra buttons, which you can't have on your wheel because there's just not enough options on there. So I've got that for pretty much all games. I've added a little sticker as well on there. So I have a parking brake, ignition, wiper speed. It's very easy access. Some of the things I can change, for example, brake bias. So we were talking about the setup earlier. Getting your setup is good, and doing it on the go as well is really made possible with the button box. You don't have to go in the menu and change everything. You can just navigate with the scroll button. I do have a review video where I was talking about all this. And then my new addition to the family have been the Akina handbrake and the pipe shifter, and that has made a whole difference to my rally racing. There's something just really enjoyable about using a sequential
Yeah,
shifter.
sequential, isn't it? Yeah.
It's absolutely amazing. I love my I can't show it to you because I don't know where it's gone, but I love my H pattern is amazing. And if you also enjoy driving different sim, having a wheel for the sim is very important. I can send this one, for example, my
Wow.
Speed Max Racing, so it's a GT3 wheel,
Wow.
and it's actually, I'm not joking, it's making me faster driving with it because it's so light. It feels like effortless to move the wheel, and it goes straight away on my T300 First Master base.
Excellent.
So it's beautiful. I've got the F1 wheel. I'm going to show you because they're all here.
Oh wow! That's an amazing one. Yeah,
so
yeah.
It's licensed by Ferrari as well, so it's a First Master wheel.
Yeah.
So I use that for F1. I use that for ACC, and I use this one for rallying.
Oh, fantastic! Yeah.
And obviously, so these were donation from I don't know if he's in the chat, Matt Evans, which is an amazing member of my community, also a friend. So he's donated these to me, so it allowed me to upgrade from my Logitech G920, and this is the best. If you want to upgrade from a G920 and want to put a bit more money, I think these are definitely worth the price. It's amazing.
And you need a Thrustmaster base for them, don't you? For those to make them work the best. Yeah. Yes. No, that's fantastic. That's great. I've been told I need to go shopping now. And I'll say we'll have to, have to be what they call the Black Friday in November, I think, before I can get any of that. But no, that's absolutely fantastic. Now we do have another question. Now it's a wee bit up here. Oh yes, now this is one which will either trigger a number of people or it will make them happy. Who is your favorite sim racing content creator?
Oh, that is so I like I'd say this is a very difficult question. I'd say Super GT because when I watch his video, it just makes me laugh. The way he comments on his racing is just hilarious. I don't think he knows he has a sense of humor, or maybe he knows. I don't know. The way he comments on it is just it's making me laugh.
Yeah, he's very good. I do like that. That's one of the things I've watched for many years of him. Is when he goes, "See you later," and that when he goes past somebody and they're off into the shadow realm. So yeah, no, he's got a real kind of unique take of it all, which is fantastic. That
his hello viewers gets to me as well. Just some hello viewers. I hope you.
Yeah. He's very, very good. He's very relaxed. It sounds like he's been doing it for decades, isn't it? Like an old game, a kind of game show host. He's so relaxed in his job of commenting on what he does so well. Now, one of the questions, we've been asking how much does it cost for some of these wheels, and Jeff has very kindly said from £100 to £300 is roughly, I think, what they cost.
You can obviously get second hands, so you can be quite cheap. Now that the whole COVID-19 situation is getting away, lots of people, I think, won't have enough time anymore to use all the different equipment they purchase. So I think there will be plenty of opportunity to get cheaper equipment second hand. Mine is second hand, and it's been used a lot by the community member I mentioned earlier. But it works just fine. So yeah. It was a very difficult question you just asked because now I'm thinking of plenty of names. I don't want to have offended anyone.
I think how many people are going to unsubscribe now. I'm sure they'll be absolutely fine. They've all got plenty of patience. I mean, there's so many to choose from. It's a very hard job to pick one. So that was the thing. Now, here's a good question from your fiancé. Does Thea have any plans to start an airline soon?
An airline?
Yeah. Enough to throw you.
I mean, as usual, I think Jeff wasn't listening when I talked about the fact I was going to start streaming the flight simulator. But no, I don't think I have a plan to. Well, actually, we have a plan. I don't know if I can say too much, but I wanted to do some sort of role play when I will be doing my stream for the Microsoft Simulator. So we were thinking of maybe buying a little hostess costume and just put on a role play, but nothing too crazy.
Oh well, now that's a great way to sort it all out. Now, for all the viewers who are watching there today, make sure if you haven't already subscribed to Theamusante's channel, make sure you do so. And it would be fantastic if you can give us a like and a subscribe here on the Car Sim and Race Driver Show, where every week we try and get as many guests as we can and go into sim racing and also motorsport banter. We talk about the Grand Prix and all sorts. In fact, one of my friends here, a co-host, who is also an airline pilot, who says it's maybe not the best time at the moment to start an airline, which is probably true, considering of all the things. But it's great that you've been playing all these different games and have such a big experience of. I mean, it's from flying to racing to rallying. It really is. It is quite a thing, and it's great to get your expertise on how you built your rig, how it all works, and how it's going on for there. So you've been a fantastic guest. Stay on the line at the moment, but I'll say to all our viewers and all our listeners this will be on the podcast in a few days' time. Thank you very much for watching tonight. Thank you very much for your questions, and make sure you support the shows and the channels there that we just mentioned. It's fantastic to have had Theamusante with us tonight, and hopefully my French will not be too insulting when I try and make an attempt of speaking in French. But no, it's been absolutely amazing having you on the show, and we wish you all the best for your championship, the all-female championship. In fact, that might be. Could you tell the viewers just now, when is the next one happening?
So the next race is at Hungaroring. It's happening on Wednesday evening at 8. So if you tune in, I will be streaming the practice and everything at 7:30. And the Sim Grid will also be doing the race with live commentating. And you can win a lot of prizes as well if you follow their social media. It's absolutely awesome. You need to tune in. So
we follow the Sim Grid. We can go onto their website and enter competitions too, which would be great.
Yeah, on their social media. So you can win some 3D wrap handbrake. So the new addition to my family that I was mentioning, handbrake, impact shifter, and there's also a V-rig rig to be winning. So if you participate, so the V-rig is to win at the end of the whole championship, and if you participate into the overtake of the week, I think at the end of. If you follow the social media, you will see all the details will be given there.
Fantastic. That's great. Well, you've been a lovely guest. Thank you so much. And stay on the line for a wee second. But I'll say to all our viewers and listeners, thank you very much for supporting us tonight and watching the show. It's been a pleasure to have you with us. And our motto on the Car Sim and Race Driver Show is drive fast and try not to crash. We'll see you next week. Thanks very much. And bye just now.